Sheree and Be My Heartbeat on KBCU 88.1, and it's now time for our KBCU CD Artist Spotlight. And today it's Mitch McVicker, and we'll be talking to him about his brand new CD called When Black and White Fade. And how you doing, Mitch?
I'm doing great, Rock and Ron. Thanks for having me.
Are you in Georgia right now, or where you at?
I am. I'm at home for a couple more days. I've gotten to be home for a number of days over the holiday times, and so it'll be nice to go out and do some concerts again. But nice to get back as soon as I can to spend more time with my family.
Well, let's start off by asking you, what'd you do for the holidays?
I got to spend, we had the Christmas tree here and everything with my kids. Brooklyn is 9 and Payson is 4. So that was a monumental event, Christmas morning. And then from there, my family and I drove to Kansas. My parents live in Topeka, and we got to spend a few days there with my sister's family. Drove there from Ohio, and it was kind of a gathering of the little cousins running around crazy, and the grandparents loving every minute of it, and so it was a great time.
Very nice, very nice. Now, I do got to ask, I know the Christmas, of course, is not about the gifts, but we, as fathers and parents, we love to watch our kids as they open their gifts. What were your kids' favorite gifts this year?
My little Payson, he's 4, so every gift is his favorite. He loves just ripping into it and ripping open the paper. But the ones that got his biggest reaction were, remote control car and remote control airplane and a train track, and it is all kind of becoming a blur a little bit, but Brooklyn got her clothes. She's 9, so she's starting to like clothes, and she still gets some doll stuff. So that was the great time, seeing their eyes light up at whatever it was. They were grateful for everything.
All right. Well, let's dive into your CD, and again, it's When Black and White Fade, and let's start off with the song All Things. You want to tell us a little bit about this song?
Well, it simply is that it's a statement that God works through all things, through every circumstance, in every situation. It is ridiculous for us to think that our life is segmented into prayer time and church time and then other time. For the Lord is active in us and around us and in other people around us all the time. So that's kind of the sentiment behind the song, and it kind of goes into the thing about, when people ask me, what is my testimony? And I've always had a very difficult time answering that question, because it goes way beyond any one experience. I think we actually kind of shortchange God when we think that what we have to say is about an event that happened in the past, because isn't God active in us all the time in everything? I think what we have to say is, watch me in this particular moment, in this day, and for God is active in us all the time and in all things.
Well, here is All Things from Mitch McVicker on KBCU 88.1. All Things, that's Mitch McVicker on KBCU 88.1, and he is in our CD Artist Spotlight. Hey, Mitch, how's your harmonica playing doing?
Well, I don't do very many tricks or flips on the harmonica, but I just like to blow it like the folk guys.
I was just kind of curious, I know all these artists, they practice, you got a lot to practice, and I was thinking about you, how much practice do you actually practice on your guitar, the guitar, how much do you practice on your harmonica,
What I do is I practice a lot when there's a new part that comes about, when there's a new song that comes about. I will practice that one, over and over and over, and that's, but I don't do any exercises or anything. It's just.
You mean you're not gonna write a how to do a harmonica playing book?
Well, maybe I should. I would do it if people wanted it. But
well,
no, I practice musically, be it guitar, be it banjo or ukulele or percussion, whatever it is that I'm playing. I practice that as I'm preparing for certain projects and certain songs and certain concerts. But I really don't sit down and go do exercises. But in doing it that way, I get a lot of practice, which I need.
Neat. Well, I wanted to talk a little bit about one of my, as everybody knows, it's the movie I totally love, the Ragamuffin Rich Mullins movie. I cannot, it's almost, I don't know, when was our the premiere in Wichita? What month was that?
That was funny you should bring it up. That was
February?
One year ago yesterday. It was January 9th.
I thought it was about a year ago. Yeah, and, I have seen it a few times. I have a thing where every so often I'll get the urge and I share it with friends that haven't seen it yet. And actually, I was just talking to some people yesterday that actually has a group, and I told them in the group that I wanted to share that movie, and so I plan on doing that real soon. So the group was actually got to do with a homeless shelter. So, but that movie is powerful, and of course you were blessed in it. I still laugh when I didn't know that you were going to be in the movie, and I think I interviewed you and said, Mitch, so who plays you? And you gave me the answer, well, I do, but I just play like a little small part in Rich's life, and that just of course blessed me and stuff. So
well, yeah, Rich has such a vast life that I was grateful to get to be a little part of it, and it was hard to capture his whole life and represent everything in 2 hours, but I think they did a real good job, and I appreciate the heart that was behind the movie and everyone involved in it, and I was grateful to get to be a part of it.
Well, one thing that I see that's been going on is the Ragamuffin retreats, and I'm just kind of curious, what are they like? And I know that you've got to go a couple times, so maybe you can share what they're like, and maybe how people might be interested in going to a Ragamuffin retreat.
Right. The Ragamuffin retreats are, they're a really, really cool thing. They are led by David Schultz, the writer, director, producer of the movie Ragamuffin, and by David Mullins, Rich's brother. And then I'm there leading worship with Matt Lichty. He's kind of the worship leader, and I do it with him, and then I do a concert on one of the nights. And it's all just based upon how Jesus is crazily, if that's a word, in love with us, and God's activity in our lives through all things. Very much that what I was just kind of talking about, but that's kind of what it is. It's the Davids are doing both Davids are doing teachings. There's small groups. There's worship and singing, and then I do a concert, and then they break down into there's small groups discussion that's led, and it's a real cool. We did one last fall the first one was in Michigan, and then we did one in Pennsylvania, and then one in Texas. It's 3 of them last fall, and people were really. It was the reviews were resounding. People loved it, and they couldn't speak any more highly of how, I don't know, God worked in them and around them through those retreats, and so I'm once again I'm grateful to get to be a part of those.
Do you know the cities that they're going to be in?
Well, there's one scheduled March 27 and 29 in Kansas. It's in Fall River, which is a little town about, I don't know, maybe an hour east of Wichita. It's at, oh gosh, it's at a retreat camp center. But that's the one for the spring. Last fall they did 3 and they all went great, but it was just a vast amount of work for the people that were kind of in charge of them. So they're now doing, I think, one in the spring and one in the fall. This year is the plan, and this spring it will be right there in Kansas. And I'm trying to get the information of I got it somewhere. What it's called. I might let you down on that.
Oh, that's no problem. If you want, when we're playing the song, you can dig it up and maybe tell us in the next spot if needed. Did you get
Ragamuffin retreats? You can Google it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you get to do a lot of your songs to the people that went to the retreat?
Oh, I did a full-on concert one of the nights. Yeah. So I just do what I do, and yeah, I mean it was a great time, great experience for all, and I'm grateful to get to be a part of anything that has to do with Rich and the group of people that have developed in that little community. David Schultz, David Mullins, Sam Howard, Kathy Sprinkle, Beth Lutz, Matt Lichty. All those people have had a great impact on me, and glad to get to share my music there and be a part of it.
All right. Well, I want you to share about the song called "Wanna," which is off your brand new CD. You want to tell us a little bit about this song?
It's a prayer. You picked harmonica songs to start out with. I have these categories in my mind that I group songs into, and All Things and Wanna are both harmonica songs. But it's a prayer, just saying, Lord, I want to know you like you know me. It's the Apostle Paul said, one day we will know like we are known. For now we are just looking through a foggy glass, but one day we will know like we are known. And that is a massive, massive statement and prayer. But it's kind of a promise that when we come to completion, which won't happen in this practical, physical life, that we will know just like we are known, that we will know God just like God knows us, and that is an overwhelming thing to think about. But the Apostle Paul, he's pretty crazy. So I like reading him, and so that's where that song came from.
Well, here is "Wanna," Mitch McVicker on harmonica. I'm KBCU 88.1. That's Juana, and we're talking with Mitch McVicker. So I got a question, Mitch. What do you feel about judging? There is some controversy. I was noticing people say that we should judge, and other people say we shouldn't judge. What does the Bible say, and what do you feel about the subject of judging?
It's pretty clear and clean cut for me that we don't. Period. I don't think there's any room for it. But if there is any need for judgment, God can take care of that. God has been running this place for a good long while and has seen it all, and I'll let God deal with it. But me, my focus is to love. My focus is to try and live out the grace that has been slavished upon me. My job is to look for the silver lining in all situations, to look for the good, to look towards the positive, because there's enough of the other stuff, and whatever judgment needs to happen, I will not concern myself with it.
Okay, Mitch, I'm gonna question you. I mean, and this is from your heart, and this is kind of a test for you. So I guess I'm testing you right now. You go up and you're gone somewhere, and maybe it might even be something where a lot of Christians are at, and you see this one guy, and his mouth is just awful. He's just cussing and cussing and cussing. How do you deal or judge that? In your own heart, I mean.
Yeah, I'm not in my own heart. I'm not concerned. If that guy was people's salvation were dependent on what that guy did, maybe I would be concerned. But since that's not the case, then I'm not concerned.
Yeah. I put you on the spot, Mitch. I just wanted to get into the subject in our own hearts of, how easily we do, judge people, and how we do, put people in frames. And I guess there's, the word discernment and judgment. And, but when I hear your song, in other words, it does remind us, what God is our judge. And, you want to share a little bit more about the song, In Other Words?
Yeah, we're all in the same boat. We are all in the same boat, regardless of how we want to think about ourselves, whether we have led a pretty clean life, whether we have led a pretty messy life. We have lived a life that is seen as, if not very similar, maybe identical to everyone else in the eyes of a gracious and merciful and loving God. We're all in the same boat, and the song talks about Jesus. You hang with the adulterers, you hang with the drunkards, you hang with those who have stolen. In other words, me. What is important for Jesus, based on the Sermon on the Mount, is the motive of the heart. For what makes us a murderer is not shooting somebody in the face. It's being mad at another person in our hearts, holding another person in contempt. Murderer. We are all murderers. What makes us an adulterer is not hopping in the sack with somebody, but lusting after another person. Adulterer. I don't know anyone who is left out of that list, the list that, once again, the Apostle Paul said these people will not inherit the kingdom of heaven. Those who have lied, those who have stolen, drunkards, adulterers, those that have been mad at somebody, those who have been jealous, we're all in it together. Those people, according to the scriptures, will not inherit the kingdom of heaven. But because of the gracious act of Jesus and the gracious act of God through Jesus, we are somehow miraculously included in the kingdom of heaven. And so that's what in other words, is about.
Very neat. Well, here is, in other words, Mitch McVicker in the CD Artist Spotlight. In other words, me. Yeah. You know what? We should not judge. Matthew 5 says, do not judge, for in the measure you use, it'll be measured to you. Thank you, Daryl Whitcomb, for sharing that on Facebook. And me and Mitch McVicker, we're talking about judging, and we're hearing songs from his CD, When Black and White Fade. And Mitch, what drives you to keep on touring? You know, you do a lot of traveling, and what do you think drives you to do this?
That is a good question. I mean, we always have to be checking ourselves and going, okay, what is it that makes me do this? Is it the money? Is it the notoriety? Is it the fame? And I can honestly go, you know what? No, because I haven't come up against any of those. I'm grateful. I'm grateful to be kind of the little engine that could. I'm grateful to be small potatoes. I'm grateful to go play in a lot of wonderful churches, in a lot of places that I don't know, the big wigs may not go to. For I'm doing my best to make something good, something artful, make music that gets people's attention and is catchy, but is substantive, and points people towards Jesus. So what drives me is I'm very, very, very much into the kingdom of God. What drives me is the trying to make that known, trying to make that more and more evident to people. That it's not this archaic notion, that it's not this mystical kind of pie in the sky thing, but that it is very practical, and that it is as real as the back of our hand. And so what drives me is just trying to discuss how God is active in us through all things and through all situations, and how the kingdom of God is available to us and inclusive of us in every way. So I don't know how to nutshell it, but that's what keeps me going.
Well, you got some touring to do coming up, and you want to share the dates and maybe some places that you're going to be?
Oh, gosh, you know, it will be, this spring will be about 45 concerts in 20 states. I will be around there. Let's see, I will definitely be playing in Derby, Kansas. Right now it's scheduled for April 11th. It might get moved to the end of March, but and I will be in Bartlesville, Oklahoma on February 27th. I will be in Lewisburg, Kansas on March 12th, Abilene, Kansas on March 11th. And let's see. I don't know. Other than that, I'll be going up through Virginia to Pennsylvania, down through Florida, across the South, Tennessee, Mississippi, and the Mid-America, Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, Wisconsin, Minnesota, Iowa, oh goodness, Texas, and I'll be going through Missouri, and I'll be going a lot of places. Michigan. I'm grateful to get to go to all these different places, and like I said, do what I can to share some music that is hopefully artful and good, and points people towards Jesus.
Well, you know what? Promises, but we got to get you here in Newton, Kansas sometime.
I would love it.
Yeah, you came to Fox Theater a couple of years ago. I forgot how long it's been, but I think it's time for you to come back. But I want to know about the song "Into the River." Tell us about this song.
Oh, this is a I don't know, a big one. It's a hard one. This song came about. I met a person after a concert who was just very spiritual. Was just talking to me about how God is active in all of our lives, and spouting off scriptures here and there, and then she just launched into this thing about how her life is dominated by her keep caring for and caring for her little 6-year-old daughter who was struck by a car and paralyzed, and about how it's all that Shannon can do to keep up with little Michelle. She has no set schedule for eating or for sleeping or anything she does, and it's just wearing Shannon out. And then she looked at me and she said, I know I'm not supposed to say this, I know I'm not supposed to think this, but what happens when we're out of hope? What happens when our hope is gone? And, I was just so, it was painful having this conversation with her, this deeply spiritual person, who was asking me this question. And then she went on to say, sometimes I think it would be better if I just loaded up Michelle and if we just drove off the bridge into the river. And so I needed to write this song. And then I play the song in concert, and often afterwards, people will come up to me and they say, did she do it? Did she do it? And no, she didn't do it. But like I was talking about earlier, Jesus talks over and over, about how it's the motive of our heart that matters. And in Shannon's heart, she did it over and over and over again. But I'm grateful. I'm grateful that Jesus is concerned with our hearts and is actively healing our hearts. And our healing might not come when we would like it to. It might not come in the timing that we think it should. Some of our hearts are in the process of being healed. Some of our hearts have been healed. Some of our hearts will be healed. But I'm grateful that Jesus is the healer of hearts, because there's a lot of us. There's a lot of people out there that have driven into the river in their hearts, one way or another. And I know that to be true from my conversations with people all over the place, from all walks of life. So I'm grateful for my interaction with Shannon, and grateful that this song came from it.
Well, here is the song called Into the River. It's Mitch McVicker on KBCU 88.1. That's Into the River, Mitch McVicker on KBCU 88.1. I just told Mitch, I think that song is calling out to me to start playing that on a regular, current basis. I love that song. Good stuff, Mitch.
Cool. Well, thank you.
Well, Mitch, I wanted to tell you something about one of our listeners, and Pamela McCarthy's from California. Now, I'll tell you a couple real quick things about her, and if you've been listening to the radio show, you know already about her because I've been having people pray for her and stuff. But let me tell you how I met Pam. Way back a year ago, Pamela wanted to go from California to see the Ragamuffin movie, and I never met her, didn't know her, and actually found her on the site, and she posted and says, because of my cancer, I have some extra tickets, and actually I gave her ticket to a person that lives here in this town, so I had somebody to go with to the concert, to the movie, and but Pamela couldn't go because of cancer, and just recently she had surgery and stuff, but Pamela wanted to thank you, Mitch, for sending her the Mitch McVicker CD. She says she was blessed by him, and she thanks you for sending that music to her.
Well, that's great. That's why I do music.
So, and Pamela is listening right now, and she knows, even though we've never met, she's become a dear friend and a dear listener, and I so much appreciate her. All right, let's continue on, and I wanted you to tell people how they can get a hold of your CD, to order it, where they can find you on your websites and all that.
Yeah, okay. MitchMcVicker.com is my website. MitchMcVicker.com, and then there's Facebook stuff. I don't even know what those are. Facebook.com/Mitch.McVicker. And then the other one is Facebook.com, Mitch McVicker Music. And then I think there's a Mitch McVicker Music Fans one that somebody started. And so I'm out there. I am cyber. I am so cyber, rock and roll.
Well, I'm telling listeners right now this brand new CD, but then, Mitch, any CD you've done, I've always been blessed with, and I don't know how many times I've bugged you. Hey, Mitch, can I have one of those CDs for KBCU? But I love your music, and actually I was kind of putting a bunch of CDs on the wall. I'm like, man, I think Mitch is probably one of the artists I have the most CDs from. I'm serious. I was looking at him as I was going through some music recently. You got a bunch of them here at KBCU, but
well, that's probably because people ask me what my greatest strength is, and it's probably perseverance, which is could be my greatest strength or my greatest weakness. Is I just will not give up, Ron. I will not stop. So those CDs on those all represent the fact that I will not stop.
Yeah. Well, I want to get into another song, so we're going to try to get two more in here. Everybody Needs. Do you want to tell us about this one?
This song is just. I'm so glad that you're going to play this song. It's in my little mind keeping track of things. It's kind of the most overlooked on the CD and or on the album, whatever you call it these days. Everybody Needs is just we all need. Well, it's just what the line says. Everybody needs what's brighter. We all have these needs, and for me, it's always been difficult to separate, to even detect or discern, there's that word, our needs from our wants. We all want all kinds of different things. Are they needs? Yeah, some of our wants are needs. So some of the stuff that we think we need are actually wants. And so it's just a lot of random notions that hopefully aren't too random. Hopefully they come together in one theme that we all have these needs that maybe even go beyond our ability to detect in us. But ultimately, our need is to connect beyond ourselves to the one that meets our needs.
Well, here is Everybody Needs Mitch McVicker on KBCU 88.1. That's Everybody Needs on KBCU 88.1. Mitch McVicker from his brand new CD, You Gotta Get It, When Black and White Fade. Good stuff, Mitch.
Well, thank you. I'm grateful to get to do the record, and I'm glad to get the notion of the gray, when a black and white fade out there. For God's love is a vast, gray, all-encompassing thing, and we tend to measure life in black and white, and it's way beyond our measurements and our calculations of how we think things ought to go and who we think God is. I'm grateful that it's way beyond us, and so I'm glad to do what I can to get that notion out there.
Well, Mitch, I want to thank you again for spending time with us, and thanks for the great music, and thanks for the friendship. I love this new CD, and I'm so glad that you came. You called in tonight. Thank you.
I always love getting to talk with you, Ron, and I appreciate your support so very much.
I want to end with a song that when I saw you in concert last time, which it was right before your CD came out, in Valley Center, this one song stuck out a lot. And I knew before the CD came out, like, eventually this song's going to be a single too. So I'm looking at it, I'm like, we got to play this one too. So I want to know a little bit about Being Held.
Being held is just, it's a prayer. It's my desire to intimately relate to God. It kind of, everything, it seems like everything is connected, but it's kind of going back to the thing where I want to connect with God as intimately as God has connected with me. And I would like to rest in the notion, in the experience of being held by God around every corner, in all walks of life and every day. So it's just my attempt to. Well, here's the deal. I think God communicates with us and connects with us in our hearts, and so many times we try and approach God with our mind, and so it's just trying to live from the heart a little bit.
Well, here's Being Held, Mitch McVicker on KBCU 88.1. Being Held on KBCU. I can turn down the volume now. On KBCU 88.1. Enjoyed my time with Mitch McVicker. Hope you did too. Again, it's a CD I highly recommend. It's Mitch McVicker, When Black and White Fade, The Gray. You got to get this CD. All right, more great music and a special tribute at 10:30.